But cheers on that, on getting censored. Have you been censored on your show or anything you've said recently on Twitter?
I got a couple of warnings. I got a couple of people deleting the conversation like halfway through. Yeah, like I don't know.
You recently joined the Twitterverse. Is it 2?
Yeah,
like
a
3
month.
weeks, month?
Yeah, maybe a month. 3 weeks to a month. 3 weeks to a month. Yeah, I don't know. Fuck it. Twitter is it's shit and it's fun at the same time. Like I don't really know how that is possible, but it is. It's not the.
It's an interesting one, right? Because Twitter is not kind of reality at all. Because you either have super rational people and you have the super trolls, and then you here and there get some people that are quite like level-minded in the middle. But it seems like Twitter attracts a lot of the extremes from both sides. It's incredible. Like it's very polarizing. It feels like this echo chamber. I think the fact that there's no real accountability and people can have anonymous accounts or even just they don't give a fuck. They say absurd shit on there that they would never do in a room if they were having a face-to-face conversation. So I think the dynamics gets blurred in Twitter, but it's fun. I troll people most of the time. I parody, I troll. And sometimes you just meet complete idiots and you just fire. You don't ask questions. You don't take prisoners. You just open fire and you relentlessly go at it and have at it.
Right. Yeah, Twitter is a funny thing. It's a funny thing.
Yeah, I know for sure.
I guess the best experience I had on Twitter is like when you say some outrageous shit just for the fuck of saying it, and then someone like dives head first into it, and they're gonna challenge you like head on, and then you actually like respond in kind, and they're kind of taken back because they expected, they expected like this hard, sarcastic, or like what the fuck answer, but you actually give like a straight up respectful answer, and then like you see how the conversation actually shifts into a learning experience, I can say, on both sides, and you actually have like a good exchange with someone that has completely different ideas, because it started like in a hyperbole. So it's a hyperbole, let's say the election in the United States at the moment. So you go hard on the Trump side and you get all the Biden people, you get the leftist woke people, and they respond to it. Then you actually have a good conversation with someone. 99% of the time, it doesn't happen like that. Like you go hard and they come hard, and there's no fucking middle ground. But sometimes like, sometimes you just throw something out there and someone is like, hey, fuck you. And you're like, no, maybe not today. Maybe we'll fuck tomorrow. And they're like, okay, that was actually funny. And like, then it becomes like a good exchange.
Yeah, and I mean, I find that humor is the best disarmer on Twitter. Like if someone says, fuck me, I'm like, just bring some communist lube, which implies there will be no lube. So I always want to lay something with communism or something, I just have a fun. And I like using humor, dude. Like I don't go at people that hard, but sometimes I do. Like sometimes, I don't know, some things trigger me, and then I'm like I do get that bloodhound kind of vibe. But most of the time I'm just trolling and having fun. And that, I think, that is where Donald Trump is like he's got his PhD in trolling, that man. Because he just says shit and it triggers millions of people and they go off their rocker. But actually, I firmly believe that guy's just trolling the world. He's the best troll the best mass trolling fucking guy that's ever lived. And he just, he knows how. And he's just doing it all the time and people lose their fucking shit. It's incredible.
He has to know the way that he formulates his sentences, or the way that he structures, or the word choice he uses, that people will lose their fucking minds the way that he says it. He definitely has to know that when he's writing his tweets, or when he's whatever he's retweeting or sharing. And I definitely think he's out to just.
I think he's got like a double that thinks. That's got the same psychological mindset and everything as him, and he's like you know what I want to say about this? And this guy's like, yeah. And he reads it to him and it's like, yeah, go. Fucking send it. Or, as you say, he might be like these two little fucking weird thumbs just like typing it himself and just hoying. Jesus. But yeah, I like it. I always have fun with his tweets. And I like how some people are still like, so moving on from Trump, and you can maybe add if you want to about him, is just like the pro-mask and lockdown sentiment. People are still punting that horse shit. And then all the studies like Pandata, it's a movement that started in South Africa with Nick Hutchinson et al. And it's spread international. And the Great Barrington Declaration also came from Pandata, and everyone internationally is signing it and saying like, listen, the only thing lockdowns are good for is like devastating people's livelihoods, economies, and suicides. That's all you get from it. You get nothing else. Right. There's nothing in the bell curve that suggests that it helps anything. If anything, the moment you send anyone indoors, it spreads more for a while. But so people are still punting that. And I see Kamala Harris and Sleepy Joe is also, they're like promoting, they're like pro-lockdown. They're like harder daddy. You know, they want that boot
Kamala,
to the throat of this.
You mean the Indian that is not really a black or
Pocahontas.
Yeah, but she's being sold as a black lady. She's being sold to the masses. She's being fucking peddled as a black lady, but she's not. She's like half Indian, half
No, you have to black, speak American. Go women of color.
BIPOC. Yes, there's so many fucking dumb people. And so, like, okay, let's get into it. There's a lot to dissect. So you said the mask lockdown. All right, so the masks. Let's start with the masks. Like, if you look at scientists and doctors that work with viruses, look at the outfit they're wearing. I'm not going to say mask. I'm not going to say gear. Look at the outfit. They have their own oxygen tube that feeds into it. They're completely sealed off. It's like a clean room, basically inside a suit. Everything is sterile. Yeah. Everything is. But now we're like, your grandma's panty is gonna fucking stop the virus, and that's the new. Okay, so one, look at the people that study viruses and work with viruses as a job, and look at the measures they go through to protect themselves from viruses. And you really think that the disposable or the cloth mask that you wear is actually doing something? That's the first. Just ask yourself. Just look at how the people, the scientists, the doctors, the researchers, look through what measures they have to go to protect themselves from the viruses, and then you see if that is on par with your shitty mask that you have to wear.
Going through.
Right. Yeah. And then the lockdowns is another thing. I actually used the Pandates, I think. Source, I saw it from this like germ warfare guy.
Yes, germ is quite legit in our circles.
Yeah. Like
he's very outspoken, and he speaks a lot with Pandata, and he's got them a lot on as well. And yeah,
I saw some statistics there, and I actually used it in a argument like this past week. I used it in an argument, and there was this fat British woman. Like we were having a
you body shaming again?
No, I'm just telling the truth. If you're fat, you're fucking fat. That's like
I had a tweet this week. We'll talk about it afterwards.
Right.
Go on.
There's no shame in being fat. Like, if you want to indulge and eat fucking potato chips off your belly, that's your business. But don't go around and tell people that they have to love you for it. Like, it makes me vomit a little bit if you're so fucking fat and obese. It's not shaming. Like the same with if you're super skinny and your fucking hip bones poke through, and you have no fat, you have no muscle, you have nothing except your skeleton, bony body, then you're also kind of disgusting. And so it's not shaming, but we have to be honest with people. Anyway,
you mean to say there's objective truth in this world?
Lord.
Yeah, okay, well, that's good to know.
Yeah, so I was having this back and forth with this fat British woman, and then I used that, and she's like, yeah, your sources are shit. And I'm like, so what sources do you use? and she didn't come back to me, and she's like, oh no, but this is whatever. And I'm like, if people are old, sickly, and fat, they fucking deserve to die. If it wasn't going to be COVID, it's going to be something else. And that was kind of like the end of the conversation, because she has like a complex on being morbidly obese and trying to give health advice. I saw something in that vein. Sorry, I saw something in that vein today. There was a Seattle social worker that was stabbed to death trying to de-escalate the violent situation. So they're pushing defunding the police, and they cut the police budget by 20%. And so
fucking stupid.
The fucking woke assholes, they say cutting the budget by 20% is not the same as defunding. Well, the definition of defunding is to stop the money flow, right? So if you reduce the money flow by
not
20%,
just stop, stop and reduce, like
right. So if you reduce the budget, if you reduce the money flow that goes to the police by 20%, you defunded the police by 20%. So first of all, they don't know their definitions. So go fuck yourself. Two, the social worker went in there, I'm going to save the world. I'm going to save the world. And there was a crazy schizophrenic, and he stabbed her to death.
Okay, I'm not laughing because the woman, like, she got stabbed to death. What I'm laughing at is that you think you can send a social worker in to do a fucking policeman's job.
Right. But I'm laughing because she got stabbed to death. One, because she's not a real social worker. She's not a real social worker. She was appointed by the city council, but she has no background in social work. She doesn't have any information. She doesn't have any experience to deal with people that are in an unstable situation. So if you get into a situation of conflict, everything is unstable. So if you speak to police, the first thing they say, compliance is important. That brings stability to the situation. So if you go into a situation where two people are yelling and on the verge of murdering each other, you need compliance between those people. That brings stability to the situation. It takes an unstable situation and it centers it. It locks it down. And then there's okay, drop your weapon. Okay, lie on the ground. Okay, compliance brings stability to an unstable situation. She walked in there with no fucking experience, with her Seattle woke shit, probably straight from the chop zone. I'm going to say this schizophrenic, and he fucking stabbed her to death. She deserved it. She deserved it. One, you walk in there with no experience. Two, there was no police backup. There was no police backup because they cut the police budget. So there were no officers available to help her.
And like on that point, do officers want to enforce in a place like Seattle where you get shit on for being a police officer and you get shouted at and you get, well, you basically get thrown with shit, shouted at, and you get treated like a piece of shit. Why the fuck would I want to enforce in an area where I'm being treated as badly as Seattle, where they demonize their police force? Like, I'm just going to be like, you fucks kill each other, sort this shit out, and then eventually I'll come back.
You fucking weird chop zone assholes, you go deal with it. And then you get stabbed to death. So for me, that's one in the win column. That's like, okay, defund the police is a bad idea. You think social workers can deal with violent criminals, people that's that's off censor, people that have serious mental issues? You think the police that go and yell at someone and tell them to put a weapon down, put a knife down, lie on the ground, that harsh intimidation, you think that's a bad thing? That is what they need when someone is off balance, when someone is off center, when someone is not in the right mind, either intoxicated or they had, like, their life is falling apart. They're not of right mind. And in that situation, you need a stark shook back to reality. And so compliance and the shock force that the police do that with, that is the thing that pulls you back to reality.
Yeah.
And now you're going to waltz in there. Yeah. Now you're going to waltz in there with your fucking purple hair and your shaven off eyebrow, and then you get stabbed to death.
Like that other guy that stormed the fucking police, and they tried to make him the police the victim, the perpetrator the victim. It's like it's so ridiculous. It's like, fuck off. But anyway, on a lighter note, we're winding down.
I'll still get deep. I'll go a little deeper.
You'll do this. I know. You fucker.
Let's drink a bit more. Then I'll go deep. So, let's stay light for now.
So you're winding down. I'm winding down. It's that time of the year. All of us had a fucking long one. We had COVID. We had government. Well, you not so much. South Africa had government overreach, giving us fat circle jerks in ways we never thought we wanted to have it. And now it's the end of the year, and effectively we want to chill a bit. Like, what happens in South Korea? What's the climate like, and what are you guys planning to have some fun? Like, what's your plans to unwind a bit at the end of the year?
Yeah, winter is coming, snow is coming. That's all. That's it. It's the indoor season. I like it. The apartments and the houses, like my house is all decked out with underfloor heating and central heat and all that stuff. So it's -4, -5 outside. And then
where are you? What
moment,
city again? You're in Seoul or Seoul?
right next to it. Right next to it.
Yes.
I'm right next to Seoul. I'm in Incheon.
Incheon.
So if you fly into South Korea, the major airport is Incheon Airport. It's a.
By the way, I was supposed to be visiting you now this time of the year.
Right,
but
you would have been here.
Thanks to the world being fucked, it's kind of like not happening
right.
now.
You would have been here now. Yeah, everything's got central heat in it and underfloor heating. So inside it's whatever temperature I want it to be, and then outside it's like -5 or whatever. So that's nice. I like to be in my house. Like I'm actually not wearing any pants. Like it's a good thing the camera can just get here because it's bare down there.
You can see this is just the time of the year, my friend. Like,
no, I'm joking. I'm wait. Like I think I'll have to, like, I am wearing pants. I'm wearing my house pants. Look at that. There's my pants.
Yeah, that looks like Japanese pants. I love it.
It's like these stretchy house pants. It's my house pants. It's these stretchy
like yoga pants.
It is, yeah, similar, but not.
So it's legit, stretchable material.
Yeah, but it's loose fitting.
Fuck me.
Right, and it's got like a layer of, like some heating shit inside. It's perfect. It's perfect winter pants. Yeah, man, like fuck, like.
So will you wear that under your like denims if you go out? So you keep
no. It's not skin tight. No, this is a pant by itself. It's like a fleece material on the inside, and then just like a pattern.
Oh, nice. Oh shit, that shit's probably nice and warm, dude.
Yeah,
it's your fucking legs like no one else's business.
Yeah. It yeah, it's good. It's good. It's my house pants. Yeah. We're on social distancing, they call it here. So things close at 9 o'clock at night, and people don't go to the restaurant.
So there's not a military curfew like us, but it does close earlier than usual.
Certain businesses.
Fuck
like
me.
It's weird. But I also understand this. So let's break this down. They have to quantify something. So they give an arbitrary number, like 300 or 400 cases a day. Why does that matter? I don't know. That's a number they picked. Okay, so we go by that. If it's over this number, then whatever. That doesn't mean the quality of the test. That doesn't, like the false negatives, the false positives. That doesn't account for any of that. So it's just if the national number, the nationwide number, is like over 500 or 300 or 400, this means this level. This means this level. And then businesses are required to not stay open after a certain time. If you're a certain type of business, it's arbitrary. It's bullshit. It's there's nothing really that I can say like, oh yeah, you're doing this and this is saving my life. I feel safer because of it.
Yeah.
I don't feel in danger from the coronavirus in general.
So what do you think what's going to happen this year in your tourism industry then? Because things close earlier, flights are restricted. Is the area you live in like a tourist hotspot, or everyone comes in from your area, right, and goes to the smaller places around it? Am I correct in that assumption? Or
they fly into here, they use this as a hub, and then go on to wherever the fuck they're going.
Yes. So do you think I definitely think we're going to have a negative impact. We still have military curfews because South Africa, and so what will probably happen? I know we had a hard crackdown in the Eastern Cape, and also we have military curfew still from I think 12 till 4, some fucking bullshit reason. So it's going to be fun for Cape Town and places that thrive on tourism. But the great thing I'm seeing is like I don't see a lot of consent in KZN. People just don't give a fuck, and local police aren't enforcing it. Just they probably know the local businesses can't survive otherwise. So I think, in a way, even the police forces are like, fucking livelihoods are at stake. If people can't fucking do business, they can't pay school fees. They can't buy food. And I think they kind of realize this and they're like, we can enforce this law, but the cost of it is too high. And my hope is, from what I've seen, that is the case. So let's hope. How's enforcement on your side? I take it you guys are quite straight. I mean, first off, you guys have a median income that's far higher than ours. So on average, everyone there is far better off than South Africans. You've got very strong property rights. And I mean, if you have to break everything down at the end of the day, strong property rights, if you have that and you look at the US property market, for instance, USA property market, it's fucking expensive for the very reason that they've got such strong property rights, right? And there's a lot of growth and there's a lot of stuff happening there. Exactly. How does South Korea kind of, how can you parallel that? What's the like you guys seem to have your shit in order versus South Africa. I can say as much. You can maybe give us a bit more insight.
Yeah, they fucking plot along. They're plotting along with the whole mask, but masks were not strange here. It's not like the first time we saw it. There's a lot of like from pine trees from China that blows over. So there's like this yellow dust that comes from the Gobi Desert that blows over. And so we had these masks before, like when the desert dust from China blows over, when you're outside, you would wear a mask. So seeing people with masks is not a strange thing. It's not like, so when they said, okay, wear your mask for this, it's like, okay, fuck, we already have it. I have a couple at home for the days that the Chinese fuck us with their desert dust, and now they just fuck us with their viruses. So now, like that Winnie the Pooh fucker.
Just a disclaimer: Kobus is no fan of China, in case you haven't noticed.
Yeah, like that Winnie the Pooh looking motherfucker with his fucking goddamn. The Chinese Communist Party can fuck themselves. Like
communism can go fuck itself, but yeah, especially China.
Yeah, if I make a go fuck yourself list, like that Winnie the Pooh looking Xi Jinping, like he's on top of it. Like he's him and Biden are sucking the top dicks on that list. Like yeah, I have no love for them. No.
Look, I can look. Let me be the devil's advocate here, and say like Biden is. Well, he's never done anything good. Like, okay, let me be devil's advocate times 2. He's never done anything really like fucking that's a wow. And just behind him, and he might not be as radical because he is an old school. He's a fucking old senile man. Like he doesn't give a fuck. He was like in government in the era where you could still grope women and fucking ask them to make you a sandwich and bring you a beer. The good old days. But
Biden just to put it in perspective, Biden has been in office for, I think it's 25% of the existence of the United States.
Yes.
So 1776. Wait, 1776. What's that? 250 years ago? 200 will put it at 1976. Yeah, about 250 years ago. That's the United States. 1776. If he's been in politics for 50 years, that's like 20%. Yes, that's 20% of the existence of the country. That's old insane, fucking dude. Waste of skin has been there.
Okay, so let's say he's just, the Democrats are they're a very interesting bunch. Let's say his policies aren't that fucking cuck, and he's not as extreme. But my God, I mean, he's so fucking fragile. He can't string a sentence together, and he just get a knee injury or a fucking ankle injury, and that fucker is out. And fucking Calamari Harris comes in, and she just like cleans the floor, or like fucking AOC barking on the back end. It's just That's what I'm afraid of. But luckily, the US, it seems like in the Senate, I don't want to drag this on too much because I don't think too many South Africans on this stream will be too interested because I think keeping it lighthearted. It seems like the majority of the Senate will still be Republican, which is a great balance. So that they won't be able to push a lot of their fucking socialist shit through with the new normal and the new reset, which the globalists are getting such a fucking hard dick for. Me, not so much, not a fan. I think it's the most, like Justin Trudeau. I don't know if you've seen the clip of him with the new normal with his fucking smirk on his face, being so fucking self-satisfied with himself, where he just is that new reset and we can tackle social injustices and all that communist talk, utopia talk, as I call it. And it's fucking disturbing, dude. I don't like the globalists and their bullshit that they're spewing at this stage, where they say like, if you don't get a vaccine for a virus that's 98 point, like, let's say 98, let's be generous, 98% survivable, you can't travel globally, go fuck yourselves, man. And why are you developing a vaccine for something that has a 98% survival rate? Like, it's stupid. Let's get back to the real fucking issues and viruses while we're at it.
But the vaccine is only 95%, so taking the vaccine lowers your chance of survival.
It does. It's so fucking idiotic that it hits. Oh my god.
All right, let's move on to something fun. Let's move. Okay, so we did the we did the Washington stabbings. We did the tiny Chinese dick. Xi Jinping dick.
Yes. Thy big. And now, okay, so you have a white Christmas, right? And I'm not talking about loads of cocaine, but you wish you had, because cocaine and drugs there are illegal, and do you get the death penalty? What happens if you take a snuff there?
I don't know.
South Korea drug laws. Do you guys do people get persecuted? What happens when you fucking have a job? Because
it's minimum 3 years sentence. You start at 3 and you work your way up. Nothing good.
No. Like, I just know Sandton and the places. Like, I don't know the coast yet. I mean, I've just recently moved to KZN. You'll go into a bathroom and people are fucking throwing lines and living their best lives. So I don't know how KZN is. Like, I've just been jolling at Thirsty Whale and a few other places here, and it seems quite like lacquer. And I don't think they've got places for rails. But I think when the people from Joburg pull through, then shit will happen. So I'm actually keen to see what's happening in the holiday seasons when all the bad decisions from Joburg being kind of like a central province in South Africa, more affluent, comes down to the coast. And do they bring their bad decisions with? Do they leave their dealers? Right. What happens, right?
Talking about bad decisions from Joburg, what happened to that ex-girlfriend of yours?
Well, we I can see the joy. Well,
you don't have to answer. You don't have to answer it. Fuck it. You don't.
You know what happened very fucking well. But yeah.
I got you.
I'm gonna keep it short and sweet. Just like people talk shit, and then people that aren't censoring people and it's against censorship censors you to meet other people, and they become censoring bitches themselves. And I'm just like, guys, like, if you are rock solid, like, first off, don't bring my fucking private life into the public domain, and don't talk shit behind my back that you're not willing to say in front of me. If you can't say something in front of someone, don't say it. That's it, right? And don't go around telling stories about people you don't know. You had me on your show once, but you have never had one conversation with me, and you're making a lot of assumptions of who I am and what I'm about, but you're completely fucking wrong. But I'm not there to defend myself, but you keep talking shit about me, and you're limiting my exposure to grow and meet some people that I really admire because you've already been on their shows. And I'm just like, you're being a dick, or you're being very insecure about yourself. And then we had a weekend away, and said person decided, like, no, I don't like Carter, so I'm just going to fucking tell everyone, like, no, he's not welcome. And I'm like, dude, you're against cancel culture, but you're fucking canceling me. It's like, what the fuck? So yeah, it's quite something. So I'll just leave that fucking landmine there and just say, people, we of the same ilk. Like if you value freedom of speech, freedom of expression, and freedom in general, don't go and fucking bury people because of your own biases. And when you get pressed for answers, and luckily someone stood up for me and asked them, they gave very hollow answers. And they're like, that is not even a good response. Your reasoning is flawed. You're not giving me anything of substance. Like, try again. And they're like, you're listening to someone that went to a psych ward, and that's all you have. You've got nothing else. You don't know the person. It's like, and I'm just like, yes, thank you. So people, critical thinking, be objective, go on facts, don't listen to other people's bullshit, and you'll be fine. And don't discuss other people behind their backs. It's a terrible way to go in this life.
Yeah.
But anyway, on a lighter note.
Two things. One, from my experience in life, you will never be criticized from someone that's better than you. Like if you're better off than someone in life, you don't criticize someone that's lower than you. Like I have very, unless you're a piece of shit, unless you're like a straight asshole, but when you're better off than someone, you don't criticize someone that's climbing the ladder you already climbed. That's just not like, that's not natural. Like you not sympathy, empathy.
Go on, I have you on Bluetooth. I'm just gonna get a new round, okay? I can hear you.
Keep going. I got this. You don't criticize someone that's lower than you, unless you're insecure or you're a complete asshole. But yeah, well that was the first thing. There, and the second thing, there's enough people. There's 7 billion people in the world. There's enough people for everybody. Like if you have a show, or you're a comedian, or you're into fitness, or you're trying to show everybody how much weight you lost, or you're trying to sell your book on Amazon on becoming growing up, there's enough people to go around that there's sunlight for everybody, man. You don't have to bring someone down or tear someone down to build yourself up. It's not necessary. That's the wrong way of going about things. If you want to tear someone down, don't expect good things to happen. If there's people like Julius Malema that deserves to be brought like a step down, like do that. Go after that. You can't. You won't. You'll sit with your fat fucking Mexican looking face and just do whatever the fuck comedy it is that you are doing. Yeah, like if you want to go after someone that's of worth or of note. But you won't. If you go through a terrible breakup and your heart is broken, nobody likes that feeling. It hurts. It sucks. Yeah, like
I think that last point is very good. I mean, when you go through a breakup, that's punishment enough for both parties when you go through that shit. Adding on to it and applying more pressure and being a dick to someone in that, regardless of who was more right or wrong. There's always a fallout with these things. These things never like just dissipate naturally. There's always a price, right?
Right. Let me just do this quickly. Just a quick interruption. That? Oh, I had a critic today that says my pathetic channel in my empty room with my empty whiskey bottles. They're not empty. It's just below the label because I keep drinking them. You see the top part. But thank you for checking out my channel. Thank you for viewing my content, sir. This is the Balvenie 12-year. It's not empty. Anyway, plus my
just want to say quick one, colder than my ex's heart here. You know.
And just one more thing. Just one more thing. It's not an empty room. Let me. Okay, this is. I'm breaking. Actually, I actually just let people see what I want them to see. But there's the shelf goes
Oh,
on,
wow.
and but I also have art that I commissioned that's on my wall, and it.
I love that. Like that's so elitist of you. You commission your art. I love that.
Right,
That's
right. There,
fucking
I
so
also
cool,
commissioned
dude.
myself. There.
That's not narcissistic tendencies at all. Like I'm gonna commission myself as well. I'm gonna put myself all over. Oh man, nice Batman emblem there. Jesus, that's so
Yeah,
cool.
it actually has an LED behind it that lights up. There's my couch that folds out into a bed. I got my gym on the just outside here. I got my gym and my tattoo set up over there. Yeah, everything is good, man. Like it's not an empty room, but if you want to believe, if you need to believe that I sit in an empty room with empty whiskey bottles, you can. I'll be that person for you. I'll be your I'll be your empty room sitter.
Yeah. So Kobus, I wanted to ask you. I've got a few projects in the pipeline where I'm going to kit out some dead space here on the rooftops. In Amanzimtoti, there's quite a few of them where there's I call it dead space. It's space that's open. You cannot rent it, but it's relatively flat and solid. And I'm looking at some vertical growing opportunities where you put up some smart vertical gardens.
Nice.
What have you seen anything in South Korea? Any movements there? Any buildings that actually has plants? Because I see in some TV shows and stuff in the East. I don't know. It's I think more in China side. I haven't seen in South Korea where they actually design and build buildings with the vertical gardens. Okay, here we go. What the fuck are you laughing at? Go.
No, just all Asia is the same. Like in the East, I saw it in the East.
I said China, so I was referring to a specific one.
From India all the way straight to.
You Oriental people. Okay,
Yeah,
so
you fucking Orient.
I'll stop. I'm an Orient. I am not properly oriented. That's why we're drinking and having this conversation. Do you see a lot of vertical gardens or buildings that they're developing with greenery, or is it not quite a thing there yet? Or what's happening?
Greenhouses is it's pretty prominent. If you just go slightly out the cities, you see a lot of greenhouses, people doing all sorts of growing inside. So vertical growing to an extent for herbs, yes. Not so much for produce, fruits, vegetables, and stuff. That's more imported. And then it's greenhouses that has like mostly I would say herbs and plants, like house plants and garden decorations and flowers and all that stuff. So there is definitely growing in that market, but not as much as like self-sustainability. The people here tend to favor convenience, just ordering it from the market.
Oh, that's fine. And I mean, in a stable economy, in a stable place like you're in, I mean, fuck, why not? We had to kind of rethink everything because with the lockdowns, for some time you couldn't get some stuff, some herbs, some produce specifically. And the interesting thing is, remember, Holland, which is the size of the Kruger National Park, is the second biggest producer in the world of fresh produce after the USA. And that's all done through smart farming. Like they're small as fuck.
What is it? What do they make in Holland?
Lots of herbs, lots of strawberries, berries, some other fresh produce as well.
Okay.
I'll actually check it out. That's a good question. When I say fresh produce, what does that mean, right?
Right. Yeah. What does that cover?
What does that cover? But I know from a
just while you're checking that out, you're looking good. You look like you dropped some weight. You look like you're getting back into shape.
Yeah,
I haven't seen you in a bit. Like we
haven't had live calls. We usually have those WhatsApp calls.
I haven't seen you in a bit.
No, you too, and I see you've been boxing like a champion.
Yeah, but I haven't.
How's that been going?
It's good. I'm actually much better than the YouTube videos that I uploaded because that was the first month. Like
Pitch, give us an
I'm
update.
yeah, but it's hard to set up the camera and then actually go for rounds. I'm more focused on the technique, and I had a couple of sparrings. Body shot knocked out someone. Yeah, like I've been having fun, man. Like boxing is good. Boxing is good. I actually today I looked into kickboxing. I've been doing boxing for about almost 6 months now.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, okay, so if there's only so much you can learn in the fundamentals of boxing, and then it just becomes repetitive, and you gotta spend time practicing that technique and practicing that routine, and getting your stamina up, getting your endurance up, and then your ability to maneuver away from punches and navigate your way through the ring. So now I want to add an additional element to it, which is the kicking part. So you still do the boxing, and now I'm going to add the kicking, and then hopefully 6 months to a year later, I'll add like maybe Muay Thai or something to that as well. But yeah, boxing's been good. The foundation is solid. Yeah, and now hopefully in the next year, I'll actually add kicking to it, and then do some kickboxing.
Well, to our 3 viewers right now, if you want to ask anything mid conversation, more than welcome to fucking throw it in there. So interesting thing. There's a very good place close to me, and I'm starting next year, probably Feb, because Jan I'd be away most of the month, because I'm going to the farm actually, so I won't be here for all the festivities. I actually prefer it. You know why? It becomes, there's a lot of people here. Things get a bit inconvenient at the coast at the best of times. So I actually go inland and go to the Free State, to a farm. So I'll be hanging out there with my homies, and we'll probably have another call or two. So brace yourself. Even if you're out with your cell phone, we'll probably have a call. Okay, fine. I'll submit my email. God, I just want to read. It's an article that I'm on now that says the tiny country that feeds the world. So I want to get into it, so I'll read it.
Let's just ask the god of Google. Hey Google, what produce do the Netherlands produce?
According to National Geographic, these climate-controlled farms enable a country located a scant 1,000 miles from the Arctic Circle to be a global leader in exports of a fair-weather fruit, the tomato. The Dutch are also the world's top exporter of potatoes and onions, and the second largest exporter of vegetables overall in terms of value.
All right, so
Jesus.
Tomatoes, potatoes, and onions. There you go.
Fuck me. Yes, I'm looking at these farms, dude. I'm gonna do a screen share quick. Jesus Christ, it's amazing. Screen 2. See all my Pornhub links and everything. There you go. Jesus Christ, look at that, dude. Huh?
That is dedication. That is dedication to
the craft. Look at that in the evenings, what it looks like. These are all farms, eh? Holy flip. Oh my God. Look at this.
Yeah, that's amazing.
That's vertical farming taken to the next level. You expect towers, but they've put a more horizontal build with obviously a lot of irrigation systems and stuff built in, and huge water distribution systems. And even in the hall, you can see the LED lights. That's probably everywhere there as well. So what's interesting? I've been tuning in to quite a few shows and listening to podcasts as well. And the interesting thing is so I have a little tower. I'll maybe share a screen again. I'll just get the picture up. I partnered with Impilo Projects because I feel fuck feeling. That's the leftist thing. I know after a lot of research that these guys kind of know what the hell they're doing. And they do a proper job. Let me just get onto their site. They're the only real aeroponic, hydroponic guys that really they 3D print their own towers from scratch, right? So I have this little square one outside. the 16 one. You can plant 2 to 3 plants per pocket. There's 16 pockets, so theoretically 48 plants. My next one is obviously stepping up to the 36, but ideally what you want is this one, the 96 tower. Now, if you put basil in all the pockets of this one here, with every 2 weeks you harvest about 1.5 kilos of basil. So it becomes this basil producing machine. So if you bundle that into 30 grams of basil, and depending on the season, right? In the summer, I think we sell basil at 100 Rand per kilogram. In winter, we import it and we pay 500 Rand per kilogram. So you can quickly make your money back if you've got the facilities and everything ready for that. And I'm getting some growing lights and stuff as well. And I've got a growing tent too. So the growing tent on the inside is very reflective. So even if you have a light from the top, the light bounces off and reflects through the whole thing. So it gets that irritating corners that you don't usually get. So I've got a nice view here. I'll try to, I hope I don't break anything. Just bear with me. That's supposed to be the ocean. And I've got this light room here. So ideally, I'll put my towers up here, my growing towers. I can fit quite a few, but I also want to actually put them up. I've got an open area here on the left side that I can actually like put as many as I want, because my patio gets about, I think at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, the sun swings around to the other side. Then that side has the sun for the rest of the day, right? So on the outside, I want the towers there, but I still have this area that I can actually like deploy it and do a good job, but I'll need some additional lighting because it won't be enough to grow everything as much as I want to. And the other nice thing is you can clone your plants, right? So once they're quite big, you just like snip it. So if there's a branch that's kind of long, you snip it. Within 2 weeks, that branch has a root system, and you can replant it or clone it again, or whatever you want to do with it. You can plant it in the soil or whatever. So yeah, interesting times. So this is herbs, vegetables, or bloody weed, whatever you want to do.
Right. That's awesome. That's fucking cool, man. I really like it. I dig it. I do dig it.
Yeah, I'll keep you up to date. I'll make episodes and content around the vertical farming. I'm going to do quite a few of them, and then the urban gardening, where we go to buildings and like put up a few of these, and then feed some people, man. And also in the urban areas, you get a lot of restaurants that want fresh produce, and they want it legit fresh. They don't want it 10 days in freight, and we can actually provide it. So
what is your end goal, man? Like what are you working towards? Like I got my like, okay, let me break this down and you can say if I'm accurate or not. I remember we used to do this in university. There was a couple of things we did. Like we would go out and drink, and I would like analyze people and sum them up, and we would like, hey, is this and like that was kind of like just to get some pussy. And I remember the one time we kind of went hard with the like, if you show me your hands, I can predict the color of your nipples. I remember like we went hard with it.
So we'll make up scenarios and we'll be so convincing that people believed us, and we'll make up scenarios, and it's just to actually measure how gullible people are for our own entertainment. And we used to get away with a lot of shit when we were at Varsity. Yeah, go on.
Anyway, so you're pushing hard on the resilience thing, mental resilience and independence. So like, I was thinking like, where's your end goal? Like, what is it that you're working towards? And
it's go on.
Yeah, like the kind of like where I see it is. I don't know, man. Like it's very in the same vein that I'm at, and like
tell me where you are, because and also give a bit of background, like how it started and how it's going. You know, because you were in South Africa. Just give a bit of background, what you studied, where you ended up, and then where you are now. Because just a bit of perspective to people tuning in, Kobus.
Right. Yeah, man. I think you're on the same journey I am, man. To become the emperor, right?
Come resilient as fuck, dude. I don't want to be
And
beholden. Or
I
what?
don't mean emperor. I don't mean emperor as a ruler. I mean emperor as free from control. Like when you're at the top,
Yeah.
like I call that the emperor. Like you're free to make your own decisions. You're free to move. You're free to eat. You're free to produce, reproduce. You're free to do whatever. Like and that I call the emperor. And
Okay. Yes.
my journey is to become the emperor. To become the emperor of my being, like the captain of my destiny, the king of my fate.
We both have an aspiration to move to Texas in the USA, so that's a common goal.
Fuck South Dakota, man! Like I read up on South Dakota.
South Dakota, is there more freedom in South Dakota?
There's a second horse in the race now. There's a second horse in the race,
dude. Fucking go! Give us. Okay, wait. Do me a solid if you can. Parallel Texas and South Dakota. What's the kind of differences, the little nuances that matter?
South Dakota is like a laid-back Texas where weed is legal.
Nice. Can you get weed in Korea, or is it off the table completely?
You can get it, but the risk reward is a little bit out of whack.
Okay,
I would not suggest it. I would not recommend.
So I need to fly. You need to fly over. Come for a 10 or 15 day sabbatical this side. Fucking do all the drugs in the universe and then go back. Like do some weed, do some shrooms with me. Because I'm pro weed and shrooms. I'm not a big fan of and I'll tell you why.
That's the medicine, man. That's the medicine.
Yes,
that's the
medicine. The problem is with the cocaine and all the other stuff is they cut that shit with a lot of other shit.
Yeah, you don't know what they laced it with.
That's exactly my point. But I know if I get a shroom, and I actually ordered a shroom kit. I'm going to grow, I think, penis envy, and there's another one. KZN. There's a KZN strain that does very well with this humidity, but I heard it's strong as fuck. So probably on like 2 grams, you can have an heroic trip. For people that don't know, the 4 grams, 3 to 4 grams of a decent like strength mushroom gives you what we call a heroic trip, where you really trip your balls off. But I think I can do a heroic trip with that strain with 2 grams, which isn't too bad. So,
nice.
So yeah, I'm growing that shit, and then I'm doing. So it's the penis envy, it's the KZN fucking aggro one. It's lion's mane, because lion's mane mushrooms actually triggers neurogenesis, just like psilocybin does, by the way, which is the active ingredients in shrooms. Which helps. It releases stem cells in your brain to help repair it. We thought that is not possible. It actually is possible. And then the other one, I think, is an edible mushroom. I think it's shiitake. No, it's oyster mushrooms, because they're the easiest to grow. So if you want to start your mushroom journey, start with oyster mushrooms, because they're quite easy to grow. So you actually, so they're fucking very smart. So to bypass the legislation, like you're growing shrooms, what they say is the spores in the syringe is just for research purposes. And then you buy the kit and you just inject it and boom, motherfucker grows. Nice. So yeah, so it's quite something.
That fungi, man. You gotta love the fungi.
But we are both fungi. Fungi.
Yeah. Yeah, there's I'm on a quest for freedom, freedom from. There's 2 things that I actually thought about this past week. That one was the media, the power of the media got to me a bit, and this is so fucking weird. I was having a shower and I thought, like, am I going insane? Like, everything that I'm spoon-fed, everything that's piped down to me, tells me something that when I look out of my window is the opposite. They tell me about this disease. They tell me about this lockdown. They tell me about fraudulent elections. That's bullshit. No proof, no evidence. They tell me about all these things, and they're trying to convince me. Usually I'm pretty fucking stubborn and hard-headed against it, and I'm like immune to the bullshit of the media and the world. But this one time I second guessed it. And in that brief moment, I thought, like, am I going insane? Everything is pointing in one fucking direction. But my God-given eyes tells me that the whole fucking world is a lie. Like, the reality that we see on the news, on social media, on Twitter, on YouTube, on cable TV, on whatever, it's not real. It's not real. They're trying so fucking hard to project that as a reality that is not real. And I thought, like, am I going insane to not believe it? Should I just believe the mainstream? And then, like, in that moment, I'm like, the fact that I had that lapse of judgment showed the power of the influence of the media. So if you have that power and influence of mass media that's spread over the world, and you project this message, most people just go about their fucking life and they don't get second guess it. This is the news. This is true. This is what I believe. Luckily, I'm not one of those fucking people. But even to me, like, I second guessed it for a brief moment. I second guessed it. I'm like, what the fuck is happening? That was the one thing. That was the one thing that happened. And the second thing is, have you ever spent time with someone that every time you meet them, it becomes more difficult to tolerate them?
Most humans on this planet, I feel like that.
Fuck. I had this whiny Brit that's in Korea as well. We used to hang out a bit, but
Kobus, again, I'm going to put you on Bluetooth, and I'm going to go for a quick leak and a refill. So just before you start, let me just get you on there. Speaker. Madam Speaker, may I put you on the tooth of the blueness? And there we go.
Yeah, I had this fucking whiny Brit, and everything is such an issue with him, man. Like, everything. We went boxing. He cried that I hit him in the face. Shit, it's fucking boxing. I don't know what I was supposed to do. Yeah. Anyway, that fucking guy. Every time I met him, man, it became more and more difficult for me to tolerate him. In the beginning, it was fine. Like, we hung out, we had dinner, like, him and his girlfriend hung out with me and my wife, or my wife and I, and it was fine. It was fine. And then the more we hung out, the more difficult it became for me to tolerate that guy. When I smell or sense weakness in him, like, he has, I don't know, some fucking sad story about his brother being autistic or what the fuck ever. And he's kind of socially awkward and shit, but he's just a fucking asshole. Like, he told me this one time, like, him and his girlfriend went out and they went drinking, and they were really drunk, and the one of his friends were like, let's all slap each other. And he just, like, full on slapped his girlfriend in the face. And she was, like, crying hysterically and shit. I wasn't there for that. He just told me this story. I'm like, what type of fucking human thinks it's okay to just anyway, not too much of that. So excuse me. So it became increasingly difficult for me to tolerate him. And the more, like, so I was like, fuck, maybe I'm the problem. Maybe I'm the cynical asshole. So I try to be nicer to him. I try to help him with his life. I try to, like, hey man, like, stop being such a fucking spineless piece of shit. Like, maybe get your shit together. And what about, like, you don't like your job, and you just fucking, you told me you watch YouTube the whole day. You don't really give a shit about your job. It's like, maybe do a little bit more effort. What about finding a side hustle? Maybe improving yourself. Maybe take some steps.
What's the next step? I mean, you're right. Like, sorry, I just want to butt in here, right about here, Kobus. Like, okay, you hate your job. Have you done an objective analysis about what you really like and where you want to really end up? Because I've been in that fucking salad bowl. You've been there as well.
Yeah,
Jesus Christ. You used to work for Nashua. Yeah. You used to work for fucking Nashua in a call center, which is the the most I want to kill myself kind of job ever. Because call centers probably one of the hardest fucking jobs. We'll get back to that. But you're right. Like, have you put in the work? Like, probably fucking no. Go.
Right. All the answers were no with that guy. I'm like, man, just fucking do something. Just fucking do something. And then he did. And then his girlfriend kept telling my wife, like, yeah, I wish that he would hang out more with your husband, because ever since he started hanging out with him, he's become more of a man. Like he's taken self-help courses.
That's not a beta bitch thing to do, dude. Like, okay, go on.
Wait, because he said he feels like he's the most stupid one in the conversation. Wait,
Read more books.
the problem with self-help is you're a fucking moron to begin with, and now a fucking moron is trying to help you. So anyway, wait.
So it's a moronic circle jerk.
Right. So his girlfriend told my wife, like, yeah, you should hang out with your husband more, because ever since they started hanging out, he's behaving more like a man. He's more assertive. He takes more charge. He's more direct in his decisions and choices. And then everything changed, because that's just how I am, right? That like, if I put my heart and my soul into something, if I do something, I want to do it well, and I put my effort into it. I would do the research. I would stay up late nights. I would study it. I would work at it. I would sacrifice for it. And then he started adapting some of those characteristics, and his girlfriend liked it.
So he effectively copied what you are, and he incorporated that into his life. Is that a fair assumption?
Yeah, but not necessarily copied. Not copied. I told him, like, fucking do it. Like, do this. Get a part-time job. Like, do a hustle on the side.
You directly advised him. Okay,
yeah,
fair
directly
enough.
advised him. Directly advised him. And that was good for his relationship and shit. And
it feels like this falls flat eventually. So go on.
Yeah, it does.
Story.
It does. Anyway, but it became increasingly difficult for me to hang out with a guy. Like I had to, like, force myself. One time I sent him a good message because I felt like an asshole. I was like, I hated so much that he came to my house. I was so annoyed that he was in my presence because of his weakness. I smell it on him, and almost it makes me sick to see the spineless fuck that he is, right? And then I'm like,
okay, so it's spineless. So can we deconstruct that a bit more? Like, what did he say or what did he do that really, like, fucking got to you? Like, I really like going into the gory detail of these things. What are those traits and characteristics that really fucking rub you on the wrong way? Okay,
one thing. Let's just start like this. Excuse me. Let's start like this. I do my job, but I fucking hate it, so I'm not doing it well, but I want to collect the money. If you're willing to collect the paycheck, do the best you can do, even if you fucking hate it. If you hate it, leave. If you hate it, leave. If you're willing to take their money, do a good job. If you don't want to do a good job, then you're a piece of shit. Why do you want to take their money and fuck around with it? That was the first thing. The second thing was the way.
So you're basically just embodying good work ethic. Like, dude, like, cool. You're paying it.
Work ethic. It's not good work ethic. It's self-respect. It's self-respect. Respect yourself enough to deliver on your promise. They promise you money. You promise a quality of work. So self-respect. Deliver on your promise. Respect yourself enough to deliver on what you promised. When you signed that contract, you agreed for a certain amount of money for a certain amount of work. And if you fuck around with that, you're breaking that contract and you have no self-respect.
So that, but then the self-respect translates into good work ethic if you put in the work. Not watching YouTube videos.
Yeah. It's a symptom. It's a symptom, not the cause. If you want to put it in those terms.
100%. Fair enough.
And then the second was the way that he treated his girlfriend. That's a big indicator. When you treat someone that you think won't go away, like it's okay to people please someone that might leave you, but if you can treat someone that you think won't leave you like shit, that it's like the person that yells at the waiter at the restaurant. I don't have respect for people like that.
Sure.
People that's lower on the social ladder than you.
Yeah, if you treat them nicely, it's not a universal, but that generally means you're not a complete cunt.
Right. So,
but then as well, I want to add to this, Kobus. If you don't stand up for yourself and you give someone unconditional love, a lot of people see that as a good thing, and I'm like, that's great for a dog, but for humans, it's absolutely lethally toxic. if you let your partner get away with everything and you love them unconditionally, regardless of their faults, you're fostering an environment where they are okay with being toxic and okay with being deuces. That's one conversation I had the other day. Like, unconditional love can be someone's kryptonite. You need to kind of have standards. You can't treat your lady with like shit. And she can't just be like, okay, I'm always going to forgive you no matter what you do. Like, no. There's some things that you don't take.
Okay, let me interject. I think that is not unconditional love. That is not unconditional love. Love is fucking tough, man. Have you ever loved someone truly? Like, I love you. You're my best friend. And even though we're worlds apart,
we make the time. We always like, even if we haven't spoken for a month or 2 or 3, we can just fucking link up like this and go on. Yeah,
right.
Fair enough.
Like, so I unconditionally love you, and if you fuck up something, I can tell you, listen, man, you're fucking losing the plot. It's not being weak. It's not saying that you're okay. Like, unconditional love means, hey, man, like, when you fuck up, I can tell you fucked up. Like, that's
but that's a different perspective, because
unconditional means so if you say, oh, if there's a condition to it, I can love this person, but I shouldn't say you're losing your plot. I shouldn't say you're disrespecting your mom. I shouldn't say you're slacking off at work. That's conditions. Yeah. That's not unconditional. Unconditional means I can love you, but I can tell you, hey, man, this is not right.
Okay, I had it in the opposite way. I perceived unconditional love as like, there are no conditions. T's and C's don't apply. So I can get away with murder and you'll still love me.
It's the same side of two sides of the same coin.
Yeah, but we have the same idea, right?
Right.
Because if you really love someone, you'll keep them accountable. You'll be like, fuck, Carter, you fucking picked up 20 kgs last time we spoke. Right. You are around on the camera. Right. You fat fuck, go run. Or stop eating McDonald's when you go out, or what the fuck ever, dude. Like, that's true love. For me. No, for me, that's real love. Like true love is keeping people accountable and holding them up to a certain standard. So yes, our words and methodology might differentiate, but our cause are the same, right? Because I will tell you, like, Kobus, you know what? Fuck. You're a self-loathing piece of shit and you're fucking up, or you know, what, and you'll do the same for me, because I expect that from you. Because you're the one guy that I really know that won't fucking, jump around. As per our previous conversation, people that don't know you will talk shit behind your back and try to censor you and deny you opportunities because they don't have your best interest in heart. And they don't even fucking know you as a person, dude. So that's what happens.
You don't need to tear someone down to build yourself up. You don't 100%. Need to do that.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Right. There's enough sun for everybody. So if you're unconditionally loving someone, you unconditionally love them. That means if they fuck up, you hold them accountable. There's no conditions. There's no out. You hold them to a standard and you make sure they keep it. And that's you cannot be hypocritical and then hold someone to a standard and then you fuck off and do something worse. That there's also the ethical balance to it. Anyway, so this fucking Brit guy, the way that he treated his girlfriend, and then just the shit that he told me about, like, I don't think I should be in this relationship. I want then why the fuck are you there, man? Cut her free so she can move on with her life. You're fucking around with that. And then so there was a couple of things that I looked at him and I'm like, yeah, that's not right. And then every time he came over to my house, like, it got more and more difficult for me to be polite. It wasn't good.
It's a drain of energy, Kobus. Wasn't it like he fucking drained your soul? Like, every time he gets you, like, God. It's like fucking, it's so much effort. Like, me trying to keep a straight face, it's like, I have to work for it. And it's just like,
I actually had a headache. I physically had a different feel when he left. Like, after he came over, I was like, fuck, I don't want to hang out with that guy anymore. And I told him to fuck off. I told him, like just go, just be, man. Just be with you.
Walk into the ocean. Don't come
Go in
back.
peace. Go in peace, you half autistic, fucking socially awkward British cheese eater, mouth breather.
Dude, and that's exactly that. I mean, and that's fine. I mean, we move through life, we change, our preferences change as we move along, right? You know, you and I had the absolute fucking pleasure of knowing each other on varsity level and still having a fucking good connection up until this day. But not a lot of people have that, and that's fine. I mean, you can move on, you can outgrow people. But how I see,
exactly.
But how I see it, if people stay static and you're growing, you're outgrowing them. Pure and simple. Because you're allowing yourself.
The last time I visited South Africa, I saw that everybody was the same. They went to the same bars, they drank the same drinks, they had the same conversations, and I came back from this different
same
world.
Mindset, everything.
I had these different experiences. I developed into a different, you know, I there was another level to me that they couldn't comprehend and they couldn't, you know, be part of. And there was some envy in their remarks, in their conversations.
Yeah, you pick it up. It's subtle. It's fucking subtle, but you hear it. Like I said, go.
It wasn't good, man. Like, and they're still stuck in 2006.
You get that, dude. More than you would think. You would think people. Okay, so that's a trait, right? If you look at the Big Five experience model that Jordan Peterson promotes a lot, like openness to experience. And I'll fucking actually I'll put money on the table and say people with a high openness to experience, they'll do what you do, dude. Because they've got so openness experience is trait open. You're open to new experiences. What that means is you're interested in a lot of things all the time, right? So you hear something and then you are the guy that goes and you fucking Google it and you go read up about it. You know, no one's encouraging you to do this. This is outside of your realm of work, right? So you go read up. You're curious by nature. So by default, you're curious about a lot of things. It's like, okay, cool. I've got my work. I've got my job. I've got my hobbies. But fuck, I'm curious about everything. So by default, in a lifespan of, let's call it 25 or 33 years.
Can I interrupt you quickly?
Go.
All right. I got my backup glass with my round eyes. Yeah, I have round eyes.
That's so elitist. I love it.
Yeah. Fuck you, Africa. I have round eyes.
I thought you had brown rice. What did you say?
I had round eyes.
Oh God.
Yeah, I have round eyes. All right. I want you to pick my next whiskey for me.
Okay, in the comment section, people, if you don't say anything, I'm going to pick it. Let's see here. Okay, you have to kind of keep it stable. I see black label. Is that gold label?
You're right. I'm gonna go. Okay, so the very top.
Oh,
I'm not opening it. That's special bottles. That's like a 4-liter Chivas
That's
Regal.
Jesus Christ. When he returns, you'll have a shot with him. Good.
That's Trump 2020 whiskey over there. All right. So then I have the Johnny Walker one, and then the Glenfiddich on the side. So it's all of those are Johnny Walkers from lowest to highest, and then Glenfiddich on the side.
Nice. Dude, they're beautiful.
I don't have the blue label. And then this one we start with Monkey Shoulder, then we got the Balvenie, then we got the Chivas 12, 15, and 21. And then lower we got the more expensive experimental
so that's your experimental rack. Okay, so it's all single malts, but you're trying different ones, right?
Well, most of them, the maker's mark is a bourbon, and then the naked grouse next to it, the one that looks like it doesn't have a label, that is like a infused one, like a blended malt.
I think for all your inflammatory American comments, you deserve a fucking bourbon, son. So what bourbons do you have?
And then right at the bottom, that's the bottom shelf. That is the Malibu and the Captain Morgan.
Only South Africans will understand that. So, dude, I think you need to drink a bourbon just because it's fucking American. Oh, what do you have there? Oh, that's the Maker's Mark. Oh gosh, where's it made, Kobus?
Kentucky.
Kentucky.
Yeah,
Go.
Kentucky straight bourbon.
Go. Pour that shit. Do you have an ice? Do you have a little ice container as well that you have on the side there?
I have my round eyes.
Okay, only your round eyes.
Hey,
I've got brown eyes. Sorry, I'm being Eastern discriminating again. You know, I'm gonna get cut down and censored on Twitter for being a bitch.
All right. Yeah, the Maker's Mark.
Okay, I'm gonna do the same now. Tease. That's a problem here. You're drinking whiskey, which is great, and I'm drinking beer, and I'll probably switch over now in a bit. I'm just going to do that whole thing that I do, and you can go on a monologue again.
All right, pick a topic, and I'll go on about it. Oh, you were doing the Stoics. Let me get into that. Let me share my thing. I watched your show.
Go yours, and then I'll.
All right, so I watched the previous White Noise episode on the ancient philosophers and the Stoics. That was a treat. It's good to watch an episode and walk away with criticism. Not criticism because I think I'm superior or whatever bullshit. It's good because it got me thinking. So the guest he had on DNA, she summed it up perfectly. It felt like a lecture a little bit. It felt like the professors I had. I also had philosophy that's one of my degrees that I graduated with psychology, philosophy, and religion. I was at university for 5 years, graduated with a bachelor in all three and a master's in religion. Anyway, so it kind of felt like a lecture a bit, but it was entertaining. It was a well-rounded discussion. The only problem I had is they were so complementary of each other that it was hard to find a counterpoint. And immediately after I finished the episode, I sent Carter a message, and I'm like, "Hey man, like just to bring a counterpoint because you were so complementary of each other, you agreed on so much, so it's hard to flush out the idea to get a full rounded argument if you don't have a counterpoint that allows you to explore the darker corners." So philosophy is the one problem that philosophy has is it's stuck in theory, it's stuck in the mindset and in ideas, and it lacks the practical. And then once you take philosophy and you take it to the practical level of it, it turns into psychology. So if you want to take Stoicism and you want to take, let's say, Marcus Aurelius, right? You want to take the meditations of Marcus Aurelius and turn it into a lifestyle, you're going to get like some psychological, how can you say, therapeutic approach. It's going to be like positive psychology, or it's going to be, they're going to do an episode on it, like cognitive behavioral psychology or cognitive behavioral therapy.
Right.
And that is if you take the Stoics, or if you take the ancient philosophers and you take their take on what they would call a good life. Let's say a good life, a virtuous life, a respectable life, a man of stature. What would a true Roman do? Fuck a slave and rape an Egyptian. What would a true Roman do? If you take that and you put it into practice, you get cognitive behavioral psychology. You get a psychological approach. You get therapy. And now you can debate the therapeutics, and you can say that positive therapy, and you can say that, positive psychology, where you talk about the positive things, you don't want to bring up negatives, and you can take the dream analysis, and then you go into a whole different sphere of it. So once you take philosophy out of the theory and you put it into practical, you get psychology. And it's a beautiful thing to see that overlaps happen. That was my critique on it. So where does the practical come from? And once you touch on the practical, it becomes fucking dangerous, because there's not one shoe fits all. The problem with psychology is everybody is different, and that's beautiful, but that means a psychologist needs to be able to adapt to every individual that he sees. So if you have a show to say how the Stoics or how the ancient philosophers, how can we implement that in a modern time, it would be a general watered down answer because every individual will interpret that in a different way. So
Fair enough.
the show would be a good starting point, a kickoff, the starting block. And then from there on, the individual's responsibility is to dive deeper and to, basically deep dive into their own development. But anyway, that was my critique, and I messaged him that right after it. I'm like, hey man, this is really good. I enjoyed it. I listened to your whole show.
Yeah,
it's awesome. We need to do the practical, like that's the only criticism I have is like philosophy is in theory is good, but in practical it's fucking difficult. Where do you get with a practical theory?
Yeah. I mean, I think from a philosophy standpoint, the Stoics are probably the most pragmatic and practical philosophers there ever were. I know this one wasn't necessarily centered just about the Stoics, just ancient philosophy in general. And your one remark on one of your shows that you made was, I have to think back. You said something in the line of, ancient philosophy is great and everything, but how does it apply to the modern age? And how's the environment different? And I'm just like, well, let's take 5 steps back. I mean, it is different in the fact that they actually had fucking wars, and we're wondering about social media, and we've got very different.
My critique was.
I wanted to actually hear more about that. I want you to actually elaborate on that, because I was literally curious because you cut it short. I'm like, fuck, I want to know more. So please do elaborate on that.
Right. My critique on that was Marcus Aurelius, when he did the meditations, didn't have to worry about shit. He was the emperor of Rome. Everything was fucking taken care of. He didn't have rent to pay. He didn't have insurance to pay. He didn't have medical. He didn't have the government.
How many children did he lose though?
No, a bunch. Okay, but yeah. Okay, and this is the thing. What we worry about today is not what they worried about. When Marcus Aurelius and the philosophers, when you say Plato, Aristotle, they had different stressors. They had different worries. It's not what we worry about today. So what I'm interested in is how can we translate ancient theory into modern time? Because the stressors we are less free. We are less free than them. So let's take, for example, grow your own, fuck the government, all that. If you lived in the time of the ancient Plato, Aristotle, Socrates, if you lived in the time of the ancient philosophers, you could have had a successful life. Who was the idiot philosopher? Julius Caesar walked up to him and he asked him a question. He's like, can you stand a little bit to the right? And he's like, why? He's like, because you're blocking my son. What was his name? He mocked everybody. Like, I always forget his name. But anyway, so those people, you could live wherever. You could go on any part of the Roman land and live as a Roman citizen. They wouldn't take away your land. So you could put up a house. We don't have that freedom.
So we are back to the point that in every successful civilization, property rights in some way or form, be it your house, be it your money, be it your fucking pension, underlies how free a society is. The moment those things are under threat, you're kind of fucked.
Right. So they didn't have that worry that we did. So their worry was being eaten by wolves at night, war that Rome is going to get into, famine and disease. That's it. If you can protect yourself from wolves, you can keep yourself out of the war path, and you had some sort of other knowledge against famine and disease.
Okay, but okay, can we put wolves? Can we put wolves out right about then, especially in the big Roman places, because they were well-developed cities, right?
No, I'm not talking about the cities.
You're taking the time. You're not. Okay, right.
I'm talking about the individual. So let's say the individual. Let's say you and me. We say, fuck Rome. And
we're going to the outskirts, motherfucker.
Right. I don't want the I don't want the flowing water from the rivers. I don't want your paved roads that you had slaves build. I don't want your emperor. I don't want your taxes. I don't want your senate. I'm going to take my fucking backpack and I'm going to live there. It's still in the Roman Empire, so you're still protected
Right.
by Roman law. You're a Roman citizen,
Fair enough.
right? So you're protected by Roman law. You only had 4 things to worry about. Protect yourself from wild animals. So you had to secure your environment that you lived in. You had to put a fence. If you want to be a farmer, you had to protect it against mountain lions, wolves, whatever that lives in your area. The second thing, you needed to stay out of the warpath. If someone had grievances with Rome, they would start up and they would work their way towards the capital. And
Right.
they would burn and loot and rape as they went along. But if you stayed out of the warpath,
and obviously they try to first sabotage the food supply, right? That's a
Right.
logical way to go about it. You fuck up their food or water.
aqueducts,
and there we go, the
grain fields
aqueducts.
and the grain fields and the aqueducts, right? So if you stayed away from those ones, so you find a little plot of land somewhere that you could live. So you're staying out of the warpath. You protected
Fair
yourself. You fenced it from wild animals. Then you need some basic knowledge about famine and disease. So
Right.
if locusts or rain or rot sets in on your food supply, how can you deal with that? And then if you get a cut or you get infection or you get a fever, how do you deal with that? So those are the 4 things: famine and disease, stay out of the warpath, protect yourself from wolves, and then whatever the fuck, I can't remember. There was 4. Anyway, just rewind 5 minutes and you'll find it. So those are the things. We don't have that stressors today. Medical is taken care of. We don't have wild animals in the streets. We are not protected by the law of the country. We're exploited by it.
Right.
And so when we try to incorporate the Stoics and the ancient philosophers, it's difficult to fully appreciate what they're talking about because it's not the same life. So how do we translate that from the ancient time into the modern time?
So doesn't the virtues speak to that? I mean, they've got virtues. Are those virtues evergreen, or is it a bit difficult to actually translate them, in your opinion?
Okay, give me one, and then we can go down. Like pick one, and then we can expand on it.
Let's go on the 4. I think it's the 4 virtues. Or 4 virtues of ancient.
Okay, find it. I'm gonna go pee quick.
Oh, I'll give you a break.
Yeah, find it. I'll go pee quickly.
It sounds like you're so far. Go have a good piss. Okay, so yeah, for the listeners, so Kobus knows these probably. Else I'll just give him a fucking quick 101. Oh, this is Catholic Church. I don't know how that happened. The 4 virtues. That's brilliant. Right. That's excellent. At least you got Kobus on the call. This is like the blow up version of Kobus. He doesn't talk back and can take multiple cocks in the mouth most probably. So yeah, here we go. So the 4 virtues of Stoicism that they really valued is wisdom, justice, temperance, courage. Now, wisdom is basically knowing what's good and bad. Justice, moral wisdom, in impartiality. I wish people had some justice when they talk behind my fucking back. That would have been great. And then temperance is moderation, self-control, and self-awareness. I had more than one drink, so probably I don't have a lot of temperance right about now. But I'm self-aware enough to know that. And then courage is bravery, grit, and resilience, which I actually preach a lot. So that's kind of my core areas, right? Oh, there's a. Well, let me read this, and then I'll read it out loud. Wisdom or phronesis. Stoicism describes wisdom of phronesis specifically as the ability to know what is good and bad and indifferent. See, there's another aspect. The virtue of prudence and practical wisdom allows us to make logical decisions, sound judgments from knowledge and experience. The reason we need to acquire wisdom is that most of the sufferings arise from our beliefs and past experiences. With wisdom, we challenge those set beliefs and move forwards, building a new self with peaceful mind. When people empirically state, this is for me, when people empirically state that capitalism is bad and it's god awful, and the only thing that socialism has ever brought is a bit of famine, I'm like, no, it's not that simple. It's more than that. So yeah, here's Kobus. He's back for vengeance. And he's waving his cock in the mic in the camera. Kobus, you are such a disgusting cisgender hetero male. I hope you heard me. I just said, like, you waving your cock in front of the camera. You're a disgusting cisgender hetero fucking alpha male, and how very dare you do that to us? My snowflake audience can't take the fucking heat.
I'm a penis-bearing human.
I don't even want to get into gender fucking reveals. That's just so stupid. Jesus Christ. Anyway, welcome back. I spoke to the 4 virtues: the wisdom, justice, temperance, and courage. I said, like, we might be wise. Justice is good. Temperance, we're not using temperance right about now. And then courage, which is bravery, grit, and resilience.
Okay.
That's the.
So what would courage? No, let's go down the list. So what was the first one?
Wisdom, knowing what is good and bad, and impartial. So that's the essence of it.
Okay, let's put it into let's do South African and then we do international. What would be wisdom today?
Not going for fucking socialist or globalist policies, because we all know where those utopia roads lead. That would be my first, like, gut response is that.
Okay. Let's simplify it. Communism doesn't fucking work. It's been proven. Once something has been proven over and over and over and 3 times over again.
Why do you fetishize about it?
Right. Why do you say this time is going to be different? It's not going to be different. So, okay, that I would say that would be wisdom. Wisdom would be saying that the EFF is pieces of shit.
Critical race theory and postmodernism is terrible fucking ideologies. Walk away. Postmodernism. Put anything into postmodernism and it comes out as a negative. Inject race into postmodernism, get critical race theory. Inject gender into postmodernism, you get gender studies. It doesn't fucking work. You get what is that fucking thing's name? The lady that played Juno, Ellen Page, that's now Elliot Page, and you get fucking Bruce Jenner, that is Caitlyn Jenner, and you get a society, you get a generation of people that think that is normal and that is okay. Don't hate transgender people. Don't hate gay people. Love everybody. But the reason those people go to the outskirts, go to the extremes to find a belonging is because you society, you fucking marginalize them with your bullshit. They're humans. They need love. They need acceptance. They went that far because you didn't give them a home. And now we have this bullshit. Now we have this fucking situation where they had to box themselves. And most of them don't think they can fit in society. There was a weird study that they did where so Kobus, I think it's sorry, just to lap in, and I think it would be valuable if you do it. I mean, in your 3 degrees that you did, religion was one of them, and you had a big bash with, we call them the Enige Kerk in South Africa.
The Dutch
Because-
reforms.
There we go.
Yeah.
So I think if you can speak to that and then take your point forward again, I'm going to take a fat leak. I'm going to put you in Bluetooth, live my best life, and be a terrible host.
Yeah, like if the reason I think people that call themselves transgender or gay went to the extremes to form this movement is because we did not give them a home. And the sooner we start with that, with acceptance, the sooner we start with that, the less extreme all of this will become and the more normal it will become, because it is normal. There are people that feel that they're different. There are people that feel that they're not who they're supposed to be, if that is considered race or gender or whatever it is. But if you make it into a political movement, you're fucking cheapening it. It's not what it is. And we are equally responsible for keeping those people in the fringes. And they had to go to the extremes to do it. It's not necessary. So once you interject gender and race and finances, anything into postmodernism, it turns into shit, because postmodernism is shit. It's French philosophers in the 1960s and 70s that couldn't get any pussy. They tried to invent something new that failed. It was rejected. And 20 years later, it was reborn in the United States. It's a fucking terrible thing. It's a terrible thing. Anyway, so what would wisdom be? What would wisdom be? Wisdom would be to know that mainstream media is full of lies, misleading. Once they try to convince you it's not news anymore, that would be wisdom, in my opinion. Look and think and feel and experience for yourself, and then decide. Whatever it is that you decide, I can respect it because you experimented, you thought about it, you internalized it, you made something for yourself. Going on what fucking dickless Mark Zuckerberg says, it's not the way to go. And while we go down the list, let's fuck all of them. Jack Dempsey, Mark Zuckerberg, the Google assholes. But sorry, Google, I didn't mean that. I'm scared of them. But all of them. That would be wisdom, in my opinion. Knowing that what they pipe feed you is a lie. Whatever it is. If it is race theory, if it is gender studies, if it is the COVID bullshit, if it is the lockdowns, whatever they're trying to convince you of, they're pipe feeding you it. Wisdom is knowing it's bullshit. That is the modern of wisdom. You don't need to be a fucking genius to understand what they're doing is wrong. Your mic is still off.
You're muted, 2020 line. Just as the second one is moral wisdom and impartiality. So you can listen to something without polarizing the other side and being a doer about it, right? If you have to really, really, really distill this into a way that's digestible. Don't always shout or shit on your opponent. Like Kobus mentioned earlier, actually have the conversation if the other people allow it. Like, have it, because you might actually learn something from it. Don't go and shoot down someone's opinion. Ask them why they think the way they do, and then take it to its logical end conclusion and see where that ends, right? And if you can actually understand, like, cool, this guy's solid. Like, if you take his thinking through a 10-point system, and it's good till 0.6, and then at 0.7, 8, and 9, it's fucked. You can at least at 0.6 say, hey, guy, have you ever thought about what happens here? And hopefully you can have someone that you can convert to better decisions. And yeah, that's my perspective if I have to distill it. What's yours, Kobus?
Let's take it a little bit further. Let's take it a little bit. To prosecute someone that you agree with because they were wrong. It's easy to agree with someone if 90% of what they say is in line with what you're thinking and feeling. Fine. If they step out of bound and they did something criminal or they did something wrong, to accuse them of it and to prosecute them, but it's someone that you're aligned with, that is justice. So forgiveness, I would say on the other side, like saying that someone that you disagree with, to have the conversation, yes, that's the start. That's where we start. And then pushing it further, then if there's someone that you've been allied with, if you want to call it that, and then when they fuck up, to also have the same ruler to measure them accordingly, regardless if they're your friend or foe. Too many times we see people pass a blind eye to someone they agree with when they fuck up.
Right.
Yeah.
We spoke about this earlier, right? You actually call me out on my bullshit. You tell me, hey, guy, like, I love you, but you fucked up in A, B, and C. You're not treating your lady right. You're drinking too much. You're doing this. You've become a fat fuck. I'm concerned, right? It doesn't come from a malicious place. It comes from a place, but I'm also like, let's take it a step further, right? Rightful and fair to others and ourselves. Yeah, it's pretty much that. You have to be able to call people out, even if they are your friends. And you have to say in a conversation where strangers are involved, like, I have to sometimes say, Kobus, you know what, you went in a bit hard here, like, you need to fucking take a step back. But I have to justify that, right? And it's not always easy, because you actually have to stand up, like Kobus mentioned, to fucking people that you care about. And that's a whole other battle. And it's a bit difficult sometimes for most people. But luckily, you and I, there's another quality. We spoke about openness to experience earlier. And then there's also agreeableness. Right. Now, I think Kobus and I are we're very disagreeable people. We're also quite impolite. Like, we're not intentionally impolite. Like, don't misunderstand politeness as a quality. Like, we can have a good conversation, always be respectful. But there's some things that you'll say and we'll immediately be like, we'll call you cunt. But for us, it seems normal. But for other people, they take offense about it. But we're not very sensitive like that. We don't care about words. We care about ideas. And it's interesting. It's actually quite interesting. We can have an entire episode about that. But we're not sensitive by default. We tell it as it is. And sometimes it gels well with people's constitutions, and sometimes it doesn't. Then temperance, self-restraint, self-discipline, and self-control. Well, obviously today it's whiskey day, so I'm not practicing temperance as much as I should.
I think you are. Because you only read the first sentence. We don't have to, like, self-restraint doesn't mean restraint from, enjoying whiskey in abundance or having sex in abundance.
Right.
Or it doesn't mean not enjoying it to an abundance. It means when it becomes destructive to yourself.
Okay.
When it becomes
so the moment I'm stumbling in the stream and I'm like, I'm gonna pour myself a new one, and I like blix them over. Like, you're right. That becomes destructive. It's not because you had 2 or 3 too many. It's like you're still in control, right? You're still present.
If you drink at your house and you pass out on your couch, it's not destructive. You didn't lose your job. You didn't lose friends. You didn't attack loved ones. You didn't commit a crime. It's not destructive. That's still temperance. Yeah, like
Okay. So again, devil's advocate. Some people might say, do not fucking pass out in the first place, right? For them, that would be like crossing the bridge right there. But from you, from a moral standpoint, you're coming in and saying, right, but who did I really harm? Like if you actually take all the points and the things that happened, you didn't harm anyone.
okay, let's run with that. Let's run with that. So let's put a face and a name to the don't pass out in the first place. Let's take that someone that everybody knows, Karen. Karen, you shouldn't. You shouldn't. You shouldn't. Karen. All right. What if I wanted to fucking kill myself today, Karen? And then the only thing I had to do was to drink till I pass out, to forget about the fucking lockdowns and forget about my failed relationships and forget about I cannot pay my mortgage and my children hate me and I cannot pay their school fees and my brother with HIV is he's fucking locked up and I cannot visit him, and I don't have a brother with HIV, but whatever it is. And the only thing I could cope today was to drink until I sleep.
Right.
Who did I hurt? I saved a life. It's perspective. It's perspective. So you cannot look at one of these virtuous lives in I would say isolation. It has to be, so wisdom would overlap with temperance. And at one point, your wisdom would tell you, listen, if I fucking take enough shrooms to trip the fuck out and cope with life, to microdose and not have depression, to microdose and not be socially anxious, to treat depression not on medication but with a natural cause, like wisdom would overlap and also have an influence on temperance. It's not in isolation. So having a whiskey with your friend and reducing your stress and just fucking living life again, I wouldn't say temperance takes a backseat, but I would say wisdom overlaps, and then you have to make a judgment call.
No, but dude, like again, like that's good because I didn't think about it in that perspective. Because we as humans, I think we take the front seat. We want to like move forward. We want to have success, and we want to do shit and get shit done. We seldomly think in like, how do we unwind? We don't actively think about it. We just do it, right? And one of the ways you used to do that is actually to hang out, have a bit of a video call with your friend fucking from another country, or just going out and getting fucking blasted with a few friends. You're not losing your job. You're not fucking up. You're right, actually. But we don't actively like say, there's not an active schedule for unwinding, right? We do it.
Right.
We either do 2 hours or we do 6 or 8, and every kind of environment and every time we go to an unwinding session, let's call it that, it's different because I'm either going skiing in the Himalayas, I'm going for a fat hike, I'm just hanging out with my Korean friend fucking remotely and we're having a draw. There's no context. Like we're not putting a fucking timeline to it or anything. Like there's no context or timeline to it. So it is what it is. And most of our draws, like when we were back in Bloemfontein and studying, we did not say, okay, we're only going out for 2 hours. Like we'd go out till the next fucking morning, watch the sunrise, and then pass out. With our alcohol fucking laced bodies, and that's how we used to operate. Because again, you're in varsity, you have more freedom than you have when you're in a working kind of state. Because you can't go into a job fucking smelling like alcohol and looking like death if you're client facing, unless you're a software developer working from home. Then you've got that freedom. It's a bit different and it acts out differently every time.
Yeah, like if you take everything.
So we're unwinding. We've got 10 minutes, and then I'm going to kind of call it, and then you and I can have a private session. But there we go. Call that point, and then just we can wrap it up. Start wrapping it up.
If you if you take everything into consideration, like when do you rest? When do you let your mind go? Yeah, fuck it. Fuck it. It's all good. What's the last one? Let's cover the last one.
So
What's number
courage. Courage is fortitude or state of standing strong and thinking correct in dangerous and fearful situations. Courage is not the elimination of fear, desire, anxiety. Rather, it's deciding to act, taking steps despite our fear, passion, anxiety. It's the virtue of concerned with endurance, resilience in the face of fear.
Right.
So I'm pretty much in that area, and I think you, for some odd reason as well, we both kind of in that, like that's how I feel. I want to be in resilience because in some way, shape or form, with the South African government, I feel the existential threat, right? And I feel they're not enforcing property rights as they should, and there's a few things amiss. So resilience for me is kind of the top thing that I'm looking at now. And like, how can I build resilience without involving the state or state institutions? And I can truly be free. How can I create a microcosmos where I'm more free on a daily basis than most other people? And in that regard, you have to be less reliant on the state. You have to be paying them less taxes in any which way or form you can, be it cash, cryptocurrencies. I'm saying it over in public, just putting up a hypothetical situation. Kobus, go.
Yeah. Courage. If the cancel culture knocks on your door, tell them to suck a fat fucking tiny Chinese dick.
Zipping Winnie the Pooh is my favorite cartoon.
Yeah, there's a reason Winnie the Pooh doesn't have a dick. Xi Jinping. When they knock at your door, when communism and socialism comes calling, tell them to fuck off. Even though your favorite stupid fucking celebrity tells you to. Even though Hannah Montana said it's okay, tell her to fuck off and go piss in public again. So take every fucking celebrity except Matthew McConaughey. What a guy. Take every celebrity.
Love him.
Take those fucking. Yeah, take them and have them preach their fucking bullshit and tell them to fuck off. Tell Hollywood to fuck off. Tell the ANC to fuck off. Tell Joe Biden to fuck off and ask them, where is Hunter? And ask Nancy Pelosi what the fuck's up with her eyebrows.
I saw your tweet the other day. Is it that bad? I haven't actually focused on that yet. Oh, God. So she's turning the frown upside down. Oh, my God. So dude.
It changes your face.
I'll go check Nancy out. I'll do it before and after. In closing, from my side, I just want people to have fucking absolute freedom. Have fun, enjoy yourself, but never, as you mentioned, at the expense of anyone else. You don't get to the top by stepping on the corpses of others or on the fucking anything of others. You build your own thing and you move forward. And I think logically that's the best way to go, right? And then just have fun while you're doing it. Jesus, the journey towards your fucking endpoint is as important as the goal you eventually want to have. And me slurring like a fucking drunk bitch is also kind of time to call this to an end. Kobus, final words.
Final words. I got something. I actually wrote a joke the other day.
Oh, Jesus, here we go. Clap it.
But I wrote it down because I had to practice it. Where is it? No, that's the song I wrote. Where's my jokes? I wrote a joke.
You're writing songs these days as well? Like, who you is right now?
Or poetry, if you want to.
Poetry, songs.
Right. About Sunday morning blues.
Go.
No, but I want to find the joke. I wrote the joke. I actually wrote the joke. Oh, here it is.
There we go.
All right. Okay. I wrote three. I wrote three jokes. I'll give you the pick. One is about people at a buffet. The second one is about embarrassment and shame. The third one is about rejection.
Rejection every time. Go.
Rejection. All right. I didn't memorize it. I'm gonna read it now. I don't know if you can see it there.
Yes, I can see the text. You go. You read it.
Right. Right. Joke. Where is it?
Just read it. Don't be a bitch.
All right. Why is rejection so hard to deal with?
Sorry. Just to take a step back. Does this have some philosophical and psychological truth to it? Are you being a clear-on cynic, or are you just like fucking motoring off in self-experience? What's the vibe? Where does this come from? Huh?
You decide.
Okay, go. Hit it.
All right. Why is rejection so hard to deal with? Has anyone ever asked you for advice on what gift to buy for someone, like for a birthday or Christmas? And all you can think of is the last sponsored ad you saw on Facebook or Twitter. Amazon has these great deals on tactical hunting knives. No one has interest in that. So, but now you're invested. So now you have interest in that because someone asked you about it. So now you're invested, but they reject your idea. You fucking defend that thing. You defend that idea, even though they rejected it. Well, it has a blade for cleaning a holster, and it comes in 3 different colors. And then the person replies, but it's for my grandma, dude. But then instead of letting it go, you make it personal. Now you're fucking internalizing it. Yeah, well, she's old. She would need a cast iron double-edged Sahara hunting knife to easily cut her meat with. But dude, she's my grandma. Well, she needs it to fucking open her mail. Dude, she's a vegan. And that is why, because she doesn't have a tactical hunting knife to kill and hunt her meat with. Fine, I'll think about it. What should I get my brother for his birthday? And then you start thinking to the next Google ad that you saw. Well, there's a lot of hot singles in my area that wants to meet you.
Okay, interesting one, because you used to work in a call center, and I'm feeling a lot of that energy of like you're trying to push and convince someone like you really need this shit, man, and they push back, and you're like, you really need this shit, man, like in a repetitive kind of cycle, and they push back with different ways of saying they're rejecting the fuck out of you. That's where I'm coming from. That's kind of the notion I get, like if I have to instinctively fucking react to it without thinking about it too much.
But the closing line is actually the punchline. There's a lot of hot singles.
Oh shit, I thought you were finished. My bad. Go.
So then they say, okay, that's grandma for the gift, the hunting knife, because you just think of the last ad that you saw, the personalized ad. And then they say, what about my brother? And then you say, well, there's a lot of hot singles in my area that wants to meet you. Now, that's the ad that plays on Pornhub at the top.
Korea Hub. It's been so good to us.
Yeah, so I don't know, like you gotta understand, like the personalized ad. It might be too difficult because not everybody watches porn, right?
No, I think a lot of people watch porn. I think they just don't give too much attention to the ads, right? Because the ads are different. Just like YouTube or anything, you tune in and the ads are a bit different. So, yeah. Well, in closing, Kobus, did you finish the joke? Sorry, I don't want to intervene again. Midway.
That was it.
Well, I'm gonna keep you on the line and have a debrief. Everyone else have a stunning day. Get
Wait, fuck
drunk.
it. It's 2 hours. They can keep going. There's one more. There's one. Let me do joke number 2 about shame.
Okay, I just want to get a drink. I'm just gonna get and put you on the Bluetooth you deserve, so I can hear the joke and also refill like a fucking champion.
But I also need to refill. So let's do that, and then let's do
There we
this
go.
one.
Cool.
The
I'll leave you
Fray.
on Le Front. Le Fray, because that's the name.
Yeah.
Go. Le Front.
La fin. Isle Singapore Scotch whiskey. Shoot. This is a fun time, man. I hope everybody watching is having a good time. If you're not having a good time, that's your own fault. You got no one to blame but yourself. If you're not having a good time, yeah, that's your fucking fault. All right. Joke number 2. I wrote this joke. There is nothing so real, so true as seeing true shame. Not embarrassment, shame. Gut-wrenching shame. So this one day I was walking and I noticed a middle-aged man with what seemed to be a Parkinson's disease. He was affecting most of his muscle and his face. The entire right side of his face was all twitched and involuntary at times. And he was really, conscious of the fact. I mean, like, how could he not be, right? Anyway, in front of him was 2 young women, fairly attractive. As they were walking towards the man, he turned and tucked his head so they wouldn't see the twitching part of his face, and it would be less visible to the oncoming woman. But part of it was still visible. 100% shame. Primitive to the core. Fuck. My heart just broke. I could do nothing to help the man feel more like a man or more of value than what he was allowing himself. I thought for a bit, and although I could do nothing for this poor man, I could bring balance to the situation. I could bring balance to life. I went up to the women and I politely introduced myself and asked them out, both of them, for dinner and maybe for some drinks. As the universe would have it, they had no previous plans for that evening, so we went for what was a wonderful time. We ate, we laughed. There was something special. There was magic in the air. There was something special between the 3 of us. After a few drinks, we went to a hotel for what can only be described as fucking. Nothing beautiful about it. I mean, we did some shit. They did some shit. Shit was done. Shit only to be done in a hotel room. Never at a place of residence. When it was over, I looked over to the 2 women, still naked in the bed. As they were sobering up and the foul, unholy things that we did came back to them, I saw it. I saw it again. Pure fucking shame. I saw the same shame in their faces I saw in that twitching Parkinson's diseased man that tried to speak to those women and they rejected him. So I got dressed. I walked out of the room with my head held high, looking at their shame, saying balance.
The guy walking out didn't feel any shame, right?
Right.
Yeah, but 2 other ladies did. They felt like, oof.
Right, because they fucked up that Parkinson's twitching guy and he felt shame, so they felt shame. Right.
This one walks out not baptized by fire. Go, next one,
Yeah.
and then
Okay, joke
Final
number one.
round.
The final one. The final one. This is probably
What
the
is
best
the
one.
name of this one?
Joke one.
Okay. Jesus, your creativity is overflowing. Go.
Any group of people has a trigger food that brings out the primitive savage in them. It's like they can be educated, rich, they can be noble, they can have titles. It doesn't fucking matter. If you take a group of people, they have a trigger food that brings out the fucking savage in them. Black people. It doesn't matter who they are. President, doctor, nurse, businessman, athlete, scientist. Doesn't matter. Just put a 2-piece fried chicken meal in front of them. Fucking savage. White people. Doesn't matter who they are. President, doctor, nurse, businessman, athlete, scientist. It doesn't matter. Just put a plate of ribs in front of them. Fucking savage. I know what you're thinking. But the vegans. Fuck them. They have it too. Put a full head of lettuce in front of them. The full head. Uncut. Fucking savage. The weight conscious gym person. Salmon shoes sushi. Fucking savage.
Would that be more sashimi, like no fucking rice, right?
Right. Salmon sashimi, perfect.
Yeah, clean cut.
They will push little kids out of the way. They would beat their grandmas with their own fucking walking stick just to get the first bite. Kids, candy, savage. White college girls, Starbucks, savage. The Chinese, pets, any pet, cats, dogs, rats, they'll fucking have it. Koreans, eel, they lose their fucking minds. They eat it like a dick. Rednecks, their cousin's pussy.
You see, you two can be. There's a lot of poetic and also philosophical shit in what you're saying, right? Because it comes from you've observed a lot of things and you're kind of like distilling it down, aren't you? Yeah, from observation. It's keen observations that you've made.
Right.
I like it. So are you going to kind of make a few more of these and put it into a fat fucking, I don't know what the right term is, novel or something? Are you just like writing them and putting it out on social media and spoiling us?
I was just fucking around one morning and I wrote that. And I wrote a poem about Sunday mornings. Yeah, I wrote a poem about Sunday mornings. I don't know, like any day can feel like another day except Sundays.
Did you not feel through this whole thing? I've got this. Let's call it not problem, but observation. For me, for a long time, every day felt exactly the same. And if I had to imagine purgatory or hell, it was this. Because every day plays out exactly the same without a lot of variables. And for me, that was terrible. Because I want to experience a lot. And every day only offers very limited things, right?
Right.
So for me, it felt like purgatory because I did not have the amount of experience that I can have in a day anymore. That was down and out. But anyway, everyone, I'm cutting this, and then Kobus, you and I can have a behind the scenes chat. Have a good one. Everyone, have a good one. Thanks for tuning in.
Final thought.
Final thought. Go.
Final thought. Boxka spunk. Final thought. Shit. Damn. Right. If there's enough sunshine, there's enough water to go around for everybody. Don't be a puss. If you broke up with someone and your heart is broken, it sucks. You have my empathy. Get over it. Lose some more weight, you'll be attractive and you'll find someone else. Like that. Okay. If you voted in the 2020 election in the United States, go check your fucking vote. Go check it. Go make sure that your vote was counted. Last thing, if you're Xi Jinping and you're the president of China and you're watching this podcast, personally, fuck you. From me to you. On a personal level, fuck you, Xi Jinping. You look like Winnie the Pooh. Goodbye, everybody.
Lovely. Cheers, everybody.